floor has just passed Oscar Robertson to become number 9 all-time in minutes played. So you're watching literally history as it ticks off. Fans on the first free throw and fans on the second free throw, and a rebound by John Thompson's Jerome Williams.
Well, and that's the kind of little thing that Williams and Clark are putting the game for. And it's just those little things that will get them out of this rut. Picking up loose balls, defending, just doing the little things aggressively.
And then there's Del Curry just knocking down another three-point shot. He's starting to find his rhythm right now.
So it's a 6-point game. Dallas is led by as many as 11. And only one player in double figures. That is Keon Clark, who is currently on the Toronto bench. It's the offensive rebounding story. Toronto 8-0. But when you shoot like Dallas does, 70%, you don't need to get any loose balls on the offensive end.
Yeah, but I love the insertion of Jerome Williams. I mean, he's really giving him a lot of energy.
Nowitzki hits again. Dallas is coming off their worst shooting game of the season. They beat Phoenix here on Tuesday by 4, but they shot only 37%. So what they're doing now, 15 of 21, 71%. Incredible.
Well, what's so impressive about it is that you've got 7-foot guys taking three-point shots or out near the three-point line. Most of those percentages, you usually get that kind of numbers from being inside.
Vince Carter hits the second consecutive free ball for Toronto.
And it came off of another offensive rebound. The energy of the Toronto Raptors is very high right now, and they're starting to make some shots.
Van Exel driving on Childs, who picks up his third personal foul. That three-point shot by Vince Carter moments ago, his first John field goal tonight.
Well, and that doesn't concern me as much as his energy level, Kevin, his body language. I just think that he's got to become a lot more animated with what he's doing out there. He's got to become a lot more aggressive because these guys key off of him. Anytime a guy's a star of a team, there's so many little things that you need to do to inspire other people.
Going back to that Hakeem Olajuwon career, can you believe 6 in steals? I mean, we know block shots and minutes and all that. I mean, all those things, but steals for a center. That's incredible.
Well, and this is not the Olajuwon we saw. You wouldn't think about putting Bradley on Olajuwon.
No.
In terms of most mobility when he was younger.
And let's send it over to Cheryl Miller.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. And, Coach, what you were talking about, Vince Carter, before the game I spoke to him, and he said that when you're in a funk like this, that you really have to simplify things. And the main things that he was going to really try to concentrate on was just executing the offense, limiting the turnovers, and just playing hard for 48 minutes. But he said the one thing that's really key for him is that even though things go wrong, he can't drop his head, and he just simply has to play through it.
9:40 to play here in the second quarter. Alvin Williams to Jerome Williams, and the ball knocked out 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, with Sean Bradley in the game, you can have the luxury a little bit of playing some zone. And right there, they came out in the zone, and Toronto doesn't have great shooters out there on the court right now. Del Curry's the only guy that you really got to honor from the perimeter, along with Carter, who will double team every time he touches it.
Alvin Williams left uncovered. He puts in a 2. That's his first hit tonight. He has 1 of 3.
Think of how good a Dallas started, Coach, and they're only down by 3 right now.
No, you're absolutely correct. And that's why if Toronto really steps it up and gets on track, they got the chance to be far more competitive than they were early in this game.
Rebound by Olajuwon, the 11th all-time leading rebounder in the history of the NBA, as Vince Carter tries to do some work on Michael Finley. Finley's been pretty tenacious with this defense as Curry launches and misses in a foul call.
What Finley is doing is actually denying Vince from getting his hands on the ball.
Timeout with 8:59 to play here in the first half. 60% shooting for Dallas. 43 shot outside by Alvin Williams is up and in. Antonio Davis is the 5th wrapped around the floor. Rafe LaFrentz back in with Van Exel. Greg Buckner seeing a lot of time. Steve Nash and Nowitzki. Toronto 3 of 5 hitting 3-point shots tonight. Nowitzki with the ball. Mavericks have led by as many as 11.
Nowitzki's so hard to defend because he penetrates so well to the basket. If you jam his jumper, he'll do just what he did.
Great play by Jerome Williams coming over from the weak side. That's the kind of play they've been missing. Here, Nowitzki beats him off the dribble, forcing him to the middle, and here comes out Jerome Williams right there taking charge. Great play by Jerome. Good defense by Antonio Davis, so following the game plan, taking the baseline away.
And Dallas just committed their first turnover. see the rebounding tonight by Toronto. That is indeed keeping them in the game. Jerome Williams. Alvin Williams, no relation. Here's a defensive move by Nash. Shot clock at 5.
In this possession, Toronto's moving a little bit more than they had. They had been standing and isolating, but all 5 guys were moving around that time.
Eduardo Najera is in the game. Got a good feed from Steve Nash, but had a little bit too much smoke on it. Here comes Curry outside. Antonio Davis. And a LaFrance rebound.
He's like a Randy Johnson fastball right there. Now through to LaFrance there coming down the baseline.
Nowitzki, a 3, which is short, and a rebound diving for it, Van Exel. Here comes Toronto with Del Curry. Halfway through this second quarter here in Dallas, and a foul called on the Dallas Mavericks. Toronto has never led tonight. As we said before, the Mavericks have led by as many as 11 as Rafe LaFrance picks up his second personal foul this evening.
I'm just laughing at Hakeem because he's just still tricking people. He is about half speed of what he was. But it's funny to watch him play because he loves playing still. He's still got a smile on his face. He's asking for the ball, swing it, throw it into me.
The only thing about it, in that spin move he just made years ago, he would have spun like that and been under the basket. That time he spun and remained in the same spot.
Antonio Davis just picked up his second personal foul. You take a look at Elijah Wan. They did not want to let him go in Houston. A couple years ago, the Raptors had offered numerous draft choices, and Rudy Tomjanovich said, nope, I'm holding on to him. Then this past year, Elijah Wan actually went to the Houston management and said, I want to move on. I want to go there, and they granted his wish. Now, they got some good things in return, like Eddie Griffin.
But you respect Tomjanovich for wanting to keep him because he's a part of their tradition. He's a part of their championship. You'd love to see more organizations do that kind of thing if you have the luxury of doing it.
Well, that's why I didn't understand why Hakeem took some shots at the Houston organization a few weeks ago, you know, about not wanting to keep him around and resign. They paid him over $100 million. They won a couple of championships, and I thought they treated him like royalty.
Well, we just talked to Rudy. I mean, it's been a couple months now, but he said he begged him to stay. There's Nowitzki outside.
Good play by Clark covering that pass. A lot of players don't defend the pass.
LaFrance. And a rebound by Antonio Davis.
Well, I haven't seen one of Dallas's 7-footers get in the block and try to receive the ball from a post-up position.
And any retransmission, reproduction, rebroadcast, or other use of dissemination of this telecast, or the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
Carter and the Raptors in town. Welcome back to the NBA on TNT. With John Thompson, Danny Ainge, and Cheryl Miller, Kevin Harlan. And 60% shooting you see by Dallas. 11 offensive rebounds by Toronto. Second chance points there as well for the Raptors. It's just about the same. Danny, quickly, what did you think of the first half?
Just keep tackling the glass. Dallas is not a good defensive team. They got to score inside.
John?
Well, Dallas has to stay aggressive. They came out to try to set the tone. Toronto doesn't want to get caught up in that pace, particularly in this gymnasium.
Exactly. Let's go to Cheryl Miller.
Well, Kevin, it was all smiles coming out of the Toronto locker room. Coach Lenny Wilkins couldn't have been more pleased with his team's attitude, the effort, the intensity. Now, what he wants them to come out with in the second half is to go at Dallas right now. He doesn't want them to sit back and wait for Dallas to make a run. He wants to dictate the second half. And right now, it looks like this is a completely different Raptor team, guys.
Morris Peterson gave Toronto a lift, John, with his 6 points in 5 minutes during his stretch there in the second quarter. They're going to need more of that in the second half.
All I say is it's about time. It's about time. I just think, and I can understand Lenny being happy about their aggressiveness. I still think with what they have on this team, they can be far more aggressive than they were. I thought Jerome Williams and Keon Clark set the tone for it. That's where you get a lot of those offensive rebounds. That's what Lenny put them in. That was a good strategical move. But I just would love to see them become more aggressive than they have been.
On the Dallas side of things, a nice performance so far by Steve Nash. You see Van Exel, but Nash, as Danny, had 9 assists and no turnovers in the first half so far.
Yeah, pretty impressive. You know, he didn't get very many shots up like he normally does. He looks a little banged up out there. Not moving as quick as he normally does, not looking as aggressive offensively, but finding a way to still be successful.
So we just left the second quarter that had 6 lead changes in the last 5.5 minutes. We begin the second half with Alvin Williams on the floor. finding Jerome Williams, driving the baseline into Nowitzki. Davis, Clark, and Vince Carter out there for Toronto. Nash, Nahara, Johnny Newman, Michael Finley out there for the Dallas Mavericks.
And Nelly decided to go with Nahara the first few minutes of this half while Rafe has 3 fouls. They'll take a chance on getting him in foul trouble. He's had a tendency to be in foul trouble since he's been here in Dallas.
Finley with the drive and a jump ball.
And I love Finley's attack attitude. I mean, he just doesn't settle for taking the jump shot outside. He'll test you and try to penetrate. He doesn't mind the banging, getting hit to get a shot.
Dallas has won 5 of their last 6, 4 of 5 at home. 42-18 is their record. Toronto has lost 12 consecutive games. They have not won since the All-Star break. They've lost 5 straight on the road.
And again, I just don't understand that. I know they've had some injuries, but the energy this team has, there's just, and the athletes that they have, and the star in Carter, I can't comprehend that they're 4 games below 500 and out of the playoff race.
Alvin Williams against Nash. Shot clock down to 9. Carter, 1 of 6 shooting. Williams on a Davis screen to help him let it fly. And Vince Carter put up a contorted shot.
Well, and he got an offensive rebound, too, and that's the thing that they have to do. They have to definitely try to attack Dallas inside, hit the boards, and try to get putbacks.
And you see the first 2 possessions, they've gotten 2 lay-ins going at the basket.
Nash with the runner down the lane. Steve Nash, 9 points, 3 of 6 from the field.
It's not a normal Eastern Conference game that Toronto's used to playing either. I mean, Dallas is going to score. They're going to find ways to score baskets. They're a leading scoring team, but you can score on them. They'll let you back in the game by just continuing to attack.
Minute and a half gone here in the 3rd quarter. Antonio Davis missing badly. Down court, Nowitzki. Nice breakaway. Sometimes Dallas can. He doesn't even let the ball hit the floor. They get it down the court so quickly.
And Toronto's getting bogged down, Kevin. They're getting those easy runouts, but they're getting bogged down trying to get the ball into the post, and the Dallas is taking them out of their offense by fronting the post. And they continue to try to do it without having any ball movement.
Nash has 10 assists. Nice defense there by Johnny Newman.
And that's the thing. That's absolutely no movement that time. No one moves, and they're not effective when they do that. That pass is easy to catch.
Didn't even hit the floor, John. Ball did not even touch the floor.
That's the beauty. And you see big guys running the lanes like that. You know, it's difficult because you can hit them anywhere with the ball. They're very visible targets. In there, Danny. That's the thing that I like about him. He'll go in there.
Here's Nash out to Finley, and on the fly, Nahara with the rebound. Toronto leads in rebounding tonight by 10 over Dallas. Nowitzki, look at him drive down the lane. Makes it look so effortless.
Well, when they're running a pick and roll, they got to know that Nash is looking for Nowitzki. Vince Carter right there slow on rotation like Antonio Davis was early in the first half.
Foul called on Johnny Newman. Dirk Nowitzki, 6 points this quarter for the Mavericks.
And you watch as Nowitzki comes up here to set a screen on Nash. They know that they got to rotate to him. As he gets the ball right there, you see Carter just reach. He's got to get in there and make Nowitzki make a pass.
Vince Carter, 2 of 7 shooting. And a foul. Nahara away from the ball. Eduardo Nahara, born in Mexico. High school in San Antonio, Texas, a 2nd-round pick by Houston. 40 games for Dallas last
One of
year.
those energizers for Dallas that Nelly uses. You know, he always has one out there on the court. Guy to try to keep him energized that doesn't need balls, that sets screens. And right now he's got 2 of them in Johnny Newman and Nahara, and that's where they've made the run.
Newman just picked up his 4th personal foul. There's a Rodman-type feel, John, about Nahara when he goes in the game. A lot of energy, as Danny says.
So he better be a Rodman type because no shots left for anybody else out there.
And 4 minutes gone here in the 3rd quarter. Alvin Williams. Carter. Nice feed inside to Clark and a block by Nowitzki. Then Clark puts it back up and in.
Well, I just love that about him. I mean, their advantage is getting inside and really contesting Dallas inside. Both Jerome Williams and Clark are doing that.
7.5 to play in the 3rd. Carter. Carter. Newman on him. Vince Carter flies. Rebound by Finley. A 2-on-1. Oh, what a block by Newman, who just knocked out Alvin Williams. What a block. And 9 points for Steve Nash. You see that?
I thought Alvin Williams did a good job of running into the back of Newman to try to get the call. It was a good play by Alvin Williams.
Newman inside to Clark. Shoved by Finley.
Dallas is not very aggressive inside. They're not a great defensive team, period.
But they just give so much energy, don't they? Huh?
So they give a lot of energy, particularly on offense and getting out on the break and running, Kevin.
Finley with 3 to shoot. Rebound by Davis.
That's one thing I don't like about Michael's game right there. He did the pump fake. He had Jerome in the air. Go in and get the contact. Make sure you get the free throw. He faded away from the obvious 2 foul opportunities. I'd like to see Michael get to the free throw line a little more often.
Alvin Williams with the miss. Clark there picks it up like it's a ping pong ball.
Well, it's just amazing, too, because he's on the offensive boards and behind about 4 white shirts. And he and Jerome both just have a knack for moving and getting a loose ball.
What they give this team is so much drive and force. I gotta believe they're going to schedule. Danny, you're right. They do look like a playoff team tonight. A 3 by Johnny Newman.
That's a big shot by Johnny Newman. You know, they don't run very many things for him out there, so every point he scores is a bonus. But he's been working very hard on the defensive end on Vince Carter.
A whistle blown. Finley was in there shoving and pushing. Nahara was defending on a 3-second defensive violation.
We see right there 25-4 on the second chance points. That's keeping Toronto in the game, but the 4 shooting in second, that's their best offense, Coach.
Well, it's definitely their best offense. So most of those come from Clark and Williams, you know, being so elusive and being active and going on the board.
Jerome Williams called for that 3 seconds. And Nowitzki missing from outside, picked up by Nahara, and here's Nash. Nash has a 3, and he's got a double-double tonight. That is the 17th double-double of the season for Steve Nash. 12 points, 11 assists.
But Nahara's hustle, as you indicated, Kevin, was the one responsible for that. He ran down the loose ball.
Jerome Williams, who fancied himself as a point guard at one time in college, and he takes a move and a spin inside. And a Dallas foul. This goes on Finley for a 3rd time. What'd you say, John, when he came to you? He said, I want to be a point guard.
I can't say it on this kind of television. Well, and, you know, Jerome is the kind of person who I think is an instinct rebounder. He hustles very hard. You know, most big guys fantasize. They
looks like he's moving his feet well. That's a great individual play by Nash. Using his left arm, very strong body. I don't see any contact, but that sure is a heck of a play.
It's a real good play, but also Nowitzki causes that because he's so far out in the opposite side, and a guy like Clark can't really gather himself from playing him tough on the weak side. He's not in a position to block shots.
Nowitzki sitting for the first time tonight. Prince is back in with Newman, Finley, Nahara, and Nash. Biggest lead right now, and outside Del Curry with that lightning quick release. Hits a 2.
And he was only 2 for 8 in the first half, but again, he hasn't played very much. He got a little bit of rust on his game, and no matter what happens in tonight's game, you've got to get him prepared, because they got some tough games coming up, and this 12-game losing streak could turn into 20 pretty quick.
Nash's first turnover tonight with his 11 assists.
Well, it's just amazing how many key situations Clark and Jerome Williams had been in for Toronto, whether it's a steal, a rebound, or putback.
That is really true. Nice spin move inside for Vince Carter, who from the field is only 3 of 9. He's got a meager 10 points so far.
Well, he had Nance on him.
Well, and I like it when Carter's going to the basket like that. For a person who takes as many shots as he gets, he shoots very few free throws. He's got to be more aggressive going to the basket with his athleticism.
Finley was flashing. Here's a 3-on-2 led by Curry. Now he's going to reload on top and get a better feel with Clark driving on Nahara, and Mr. Gadget arm was there, and Antonio Davis tapped it back in. Another second chance point. And here comes Finley at the other end with a foul. Chair by that right there. I mean, look at the extension. Whack. And he went nuts, and the crowd got on their feet, and his teammates were celebrating. It was fun to see. He's had a good game tonight, too. Clark has put in for the Toronto Raptors 18 points. He has grabbed 11 rebounds. And a starting role, as John talked about, to tip off our broadcast tonight. Nash, 11 assists and 1 turnover. Finley for 3.
I can't imagine that just a month ago, Coach, people were questioning how important this guy was to the team just because they went and won 12 in a row. 9 of those games were against non-playoff teams. But Michael Finley was the best player they had last year in the playoffs against Utah.
Well, it just goes to show you that most of the people ought to be fans and not be coaches. You know, because this guy is absolutely good. I love his shot selection, Danny. Here's a guy that attacks, and then the last option is to take the deep jump shot.
The French just picked up his 4th personal foul.
Inside, if they get them off second shots, they certainly can get them if they get movement and get in there.
Chris Childs is in. No matter, Nowitzki hits once again, and Dirk Nowitzki's got 20 points and 5 rebounds. He is coming off a 30-point, 20-rebound game against Phoenix a couple nights ago. A 3 by Curry with the assist to Vince Carter.
Well, that's beautiful. I mean, he catches that ball and shoots it, and it's just as true as it can be.
Toronto comes into tonight. They've lost 12 straight games, 5 straight on the road. And right now, they're not in the top 8 in the playoffs in the East. That's a turnover by Nash through the hands of Nowitzki. Childs, Curry again for 3. Rebound Davis. He pushed Nowitzki. There's no call. Here comes Nahara in to get the loose ball. A foul called on him. Eduardo Nahos is out. And excellent cross the lane. Picked up by Clark. He's been everywhere tonight. There's Keon Clark. 12 rebounds tonight for him. Foul inside. It's on Toronto. Vince Carter. He picks up his 3rd personal foul as Carter for the Toronto Raptors. After tonight, Toronto will hop on a jet and they'll play in Miami. Travel down to South Florida. Miami's red hot. Nowitzki.
This guy's good. I mean, he's really good. You cannot give him any breathing room, and you guard him because of his size with your center, so it opens up the middle because you can't collapse.
Nowitzki's got 22, Danny. 10 have come in this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, you know, Dallas is a hard team to play against because, you know, everyone concentrates on defense, and Dallas against good defense can find ways to score.
Keon Clark, Nowitzki got a hand on it. Here comes Finley. Final 20 seconds of the first half. With Dallas on top, 86-77. And the Mavericks are absolutely dynamite when they take a lead out of the 3rd quarter into the 4th. Finley bumped by Carter, can't make it go, and a foul. With 3.8 to play.
Psychological mood over just a little bit.
Yep.
These guys are just playing at times just like they're looking to lose.
Carter just picked up the foul. He's got 4. Good if it goes, and it does not now. The Dallas Mavericks, led by Steve Nash, who had 10 points and 4 assists in that 3rd quarter. The Dallas Mavericks are 35-1 when leading after 3.
He gets rubbed off by a big man. Absolutely no help. Not one player in the paint on the weak side for the Toronto Raptors in transition defense. And now, those are the kind of plays, coaches, you can see why they have a 12-game losing streak in this last 5 minutes of play. So Nowitzki, what does he do? Go set a screen. That's the best way to get open. Young players watching the game, you want to get open? Set a screen.
Benexel again! Flies up to the rack. 96-78. The Mavericks are pulling away. They've got their biggest lead. They lead the Midwest Division of the NBA. They're in first place there. They're in 2nd place in the Western Conference, and they are dynamite.
When the game is over, the Pawns and the Kings are put away in the same box.
That's right. All the same, aren't they? But you'd have to agree, John, that the versatility of what, I mean, you know, Rick Adelman has the same thing, I think, going on in Sacramento, and certainly Don Nelson does here in Dallas, and even Flip Saunders to a degree in Minnesota.
Keep on.
I might stop right there.
But they don't have a big guy with a sore toe.
I know it.
And that's the difference.
Vince Carter still on the bench for the Toronto Raptors. Now he's getting off as Davis fights amongst 4 Maverick players and was getting no help inside And finally, he was called for his 4th foul. Dallas is on a 12-1 run right now. 12-1 over Lenny Wilkins' Raptors, and Vince Carter back on the floor, where he is 3 of 11 tonight.
You know, the problem that I see that watching the game tonight, you got Clark and Williams who have come in and given them a lot of spark and energy defensively. Antonio Davis is a banger on the inside. But, you know, you have, Carter and Del Curry and Morris Peterson are their shooters and scorers, and they're not defenders. And they have really hurt them defensively tonight.
Well, they're not defenders, and I don't think they're aggressive enough offensively in terms of attacking the board. I think they're good jump shooters, but after you shoot, you just can't stand out on the perimeter. You got to look to penetrate a lot more, to get fouled.
And no matter how good a defensive player you are, you're not going to stop Michael Finley when he's in his zone like he's been in the last few games.
Finley's got 25. He had 24 the other night against Phoenix. In the last 4 games, he's averaging over 27 points a game. Carter inside. Wants it to Van Exel. Backpedaling his child. As they chase Van Exel in outside to Finley. Picked up by Carter.
Van Exel gives him a whole different dimension. You get a guy that can go one-on-one like that through the defense.
What about that pass? Nick Van Exel with another jaw-dropping move.
And I like how Nick is out there without Steve on the court, and he looks like he's aggressive. He looks like he's the guy just like he did in Denver. And I think that when he starts getting more comfortable, that it's going to be a great weapon for Don Nelson to have.
Toronto shooting 40%, Dallas shooting 64%. And a 3 by Michigan State's finest, Morris Peterson.
You know, this Dallas team, they're shooting a very good percentage tonight, but this is the kind of team that against great defense can score. I'm not saying that Toronto's a great defensive team, but Dallas has made them look worse than they played tonight because of their great skill and shooters.
Rebound by Park. He snares his 13th rebound tonight. Deflected out of bounds by Nowitzki. Dallas tonight 25 assists and 6 turnovers. Their defensive problems abounding now for the sinking Toronto Raptors. 19 games remaining after tonight. Their defense is in shambles. Their star player tonight has been extremely ineffective. Their coach is on the hot seat. And this team that was within 1 basket. The Raptors were within 1 basket of making the Eastern Conference Finals a season ago. John is in very tough, dire straits right now. They may not even make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference the way they're going.
Well, what they need is a win.
Has been extremely ineffective. Their coach is on the hot seat. And this team that was within 1 basket. The Raptors were within 1 basket of making the Eastern Conference Finals a season ago. John is in very tough, dire straits right now. They may not even make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference the way they're going.
Well, what they need is a win. Sometimes you just need to get a win any kind of way you can. The best way to get it is through hustle. Not through form. You need substance. You need guys that get out there and just scrap and let it all hang loose and come up with that W any way you can get it.
But tonight, Toronto has met a buzzsaw. Texas.
You know, they got a game tomorrow night, and Vince Carter is not playing 100% out there. I mean, he's limping a little bit. The team has played a lot of energy tonight. There's no way they're going to come back and beat this Dallas team right now. They got to get ready for the game tomorrow night. I know I sound like John Madden in the Super Bowl, but 15 points down with 7. I got to consider getting some rest for tomorrow night's game.
Well, they're on a 7-0 run, John, so we'll see here.
Yeah.
I'm talking to John Madden over there, not you, John.
Yeah, okay. But, you know, in the meantime, I still feel that, you know, Toronto's got to get a little angry here. You know, and not just with this team, but they've got to get disgusted a little bit. They look like a bunch of guys waiting in the waiting room in the hospital.
Nice play, by the way, for Morris Peterson. Here comes Vince Carter, guarded by Buckner. Boy. Can't even shake the likes of Greg Buckner. There must be something wrong with his wheel.
He's not, you know, Buckner's a terrific defender.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
Kevin,
I mean, take anything away from Buckner.
But Vince is not moving the same. I mean, it's tendonitis in his knee. I don't know what it is, but I mean, he can't go anywhere. And this is not the Vince that I'm accustomed to seeing last year.
I hope not.
Or earlier in the year.
Carter at the free throw line with 6:47 to play.
When you got a great player like that and he's not playing 100% and he's not contributing, he scores 43 points the other night. Obviously, he's doing something right. And Dallas has put a lot of attention into stopping him tonight.
And I think sometimes, Dan, it's just not what you score, but it's your approach to the game, your attitude, your facial expression, and the things that you contribute emotionally to the team. Sometimes when you look at Vince, he just looks like he's out of it.
Cheryl Miller just informed us that at halftime, Carter was complaining about his lower back. That just adds to the list of woes, physical woes he has.
Well, man practiced for almost an hour, 45 minutes before the game. Slow it back is bothering. He should be in the locker room resting there.
Some treatment.
And this team can play better than this. They need it. And it's not all in his fault.
Nowitzki's got 30 points, 18 this half. He's been sensational. A special player, the cornerstone of the Mavericks, who are running roughshod over the Raptors tonight. Finley, and the Raptors out there with Morris Peterson, Vince Carter, Antonio Davis, Keon Clark, and Alvin Williams. Frustrated Lenny Wilkins on the sideline. Dirk Nowitzki has 9 of Dallas's 16 points this quarter. And a foul.
Got to wonder what will happen if the Heat win the championship. What can you give them to top this?
That's off the foot of Alvin Williams, so it's not an over and back, but the shot clock is at 1. You better hoist it. Not in time. And John, Georgetown had some problems today, huh?
Well, they did, you know, but I thought the guys won a lot of, they played a lot of tough ball games this year that they might have had an opportunity to win. It just didn't fall that way for them in some instances.
Danny BYU's not in it. Anyway, here we go.
They are.
Here's
Come
Peterson. And on top, the Keon Clark. And a rebound by Finley. Nash. Outside Van Exel. On top to Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki's incredible.
Well, that's what happens, Kevin, when you go back to health. This guy creates so much of a problem because the guy guarding him is usually the guy that helps on defense against penetration. You leave him, and he shoots a free shot.
He's got 34, does Nowitzki, and 9 points in the fourth quarter for Vince Carter, who has 19 for the game. He's caught a little bit of fire here.
Well, this is the Dallas team, too. This is a tough matchup right here. Who do you leave? You got like a bunch of guys out there all averaging 15 more points a game during the season.
Dallas is led tonight by as many as 22 points and a 1-point lead a couple times for the Raptors this evening.
They just took Van Exel out, but this is the lineup that's so hard to defend. Look at that, 14.6 all the way up to 24 points a game. All over 40% shooting. That spaces the floor right there.
To the trailing LeBron. And again, those were teammates in Denver and close friends with the Nuggets.
And the difficult thing about this Dallas team, again, is the fact that these big guys can shoot outside. They will run the lane. A lot of people can run, but very few people will run the way these big guys will.
Will not get them a playoff slot. And what about the Blazers? Unconscious, 11 consecutive wins and within distance of a top 4 slot. And if Dallas wins tonight, they'll have their 43rd win. Sacramento with the half-game lead over both the champion Lakers and the Mavericks. So look at that. And then you've got San Antonio and Minnesota in. Don't forget about the hard-charging Portland Trailblazers and their coach Maurice Cheeks. They've been absolutely great.
Yeah, there's another coach that's turned it around a little bit right there. Maurice Cheeks got things going, and it just took him a while to have some growing pains early in the year.
Wow, did you see that play by Morris Peterson? Lighten things up. But that was a thing that Dallas just brushed aside because the Mavericks went on a 23 run to finish the game and win it by a count of 122 to 103. Dallas shoots 65%. They have 32 assists and 9 turnovers, and some words of consolation for the great Vince Carter from Michael Finley.